most of us do it. We get that two-factor authentication code texted to us by our banks or your social media accounts. Well, now the FBI is urging Apple and Android users to stop after revealing a telecom breach may expose these messages to hackers. News Nation's Ryan Bass joining us live to explain further on this. So, Ryan, what are officials recommending we do instead to protect our online accounts? Because surely it can't be we got to just stop texting, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's using more secure ways like passbooks, basically, or password protector management software to access this. They say those text codes that you're getting are not safe. They said this cybersecurity breach could lead to folks spying on your messages and then utilizing those codes to get into things like your banking software or your social media accounts. That is the concern that the feds have here. And this was called one of the biggest cybersecurity breaches in our nation's history, and it has a lot of folks concerned. And so earlier this month,
that's pretty interesting because the purpose of two-factor and multi-factor authentication is that, let's say you go to Chase, for example, right? And you enter your username and password, and then it's supposed to send you a text message with a separate code, and you enter it onto the website or the mobile app, and then it's supposed to allow you to get in. So it's like it would take the person to get your username, to get your password, and to be able to hack through your credentials to be able to log in. Is it possible? Absolutely. It's just like a lot of work to be able to get in there, but you definitely want to secure the most important thing. So let's continue watching this.
Government officials said that people should start using these encrypted apps like WhatsApp in order to keep your messages safe and make sure that people aren't spying on them. The U.S. government said China hacked AT&T, Verizon, and Lumen Technologies to spy on customers. Now, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency sent out an updated memo 2 days ago warning people that texts aren't encrypted, basically saying that these passcodes that you're getting sent to your phone are old school and not very secure. They say that you should use authenticator apps for logging on. So how do we protect ourselves? Like, what are hackers doing to get a hold of your info? Well, I actually had a chance to speak with coding and securities expert Yashin Menraj, who said we need to be extra cautious ourselves with what's being texted to our phone to make sure we aren't voluntarily giving up our sensitive information.
And I would say in terms of texting, the biggest worry is not really the two-factor, but the fact that people like you who are, adapt to texting, uses it a lot, is that they are clicking a lot of links. I think that's where 60 to 70% of the active successful hacks has been, is that people have been able to send phishing links that basically are able to, divert your information, your bank information, or access to more critical infrastructures.
Yashin told me that we're all getting those USPS text messages saying that our package is late or we got to confirm our address. He said, do not click on those links. Marky, he said those are spam and it's phishing attempts and it's getting a lot of people.
I get a lot of those USPS messages saying, hey, we have your package here. Click on this link so you can we could try to deliver. Click on this link so we can try to get it to you. I'm like, yeah, that's totally a scam, but I could definitely see how some people could actually click on it thinking that they had a package coming in, and then it ends up being a phishing site and they give up all their information. Let's keep going.
Around the holidays that are concerned that their packages aren't going to arrive in time for Christmas.
Yeah. Okay, so Ryan, you've piqued our interest. What moves should we make? What's the best way to make sure that we better protect ourselves? Anything specific we should download?
Yeah, so obviously WhatsApp is going to be the encrypted way of being able to make sure your text messages aren't being spied on. But who's going to switch to WhatsApp permanently? That's not feasible, right? So the key things here that I think we're going to be doing is a password manager app. That's certainly one way to go. There's things like Passwords app in Apple. Then there's Dashlane or Google Passwords Manager. That could be tools that we could use to make sure we're more secure. There's also the advice from Yashin, which was switch up your passwords. He said for every single site or login you use something different. He said it's going to decrease the opportunity for hackers to be able to get to multiple accounts across the board. You can also use an email or a PIN as that two-factor or multi-factor authenticator instead of text messaging. Again, nothing is 100% foolproof, but as Yashin said, if you can differentiate your passcodes, that is going to reduce the risk, he says, by 80 to 90%. A simple way to try to keep us safe and keep your information secure.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com.
Welcome to another episode of The Bug Bite, hosted by your truly tech coach, Ralph, where we're in to win. Today's episode of The Bug Bite, we're going to be talking about what we just watched about the FBI saying that to stop using the two-factor, multi-factor authentication, where they send you a text message, an SMS message, and then you have to type it into whatever you're trying to log into because they said it is unsafe. The telecom companies have been breached. And I kind of remember us doing a review on that, maybe on The Bug Bite of maybe a couple of months ago, maybe. So that sounds kind of familiar. And we were like, I wonder what they took. And now it's looking like this is what's going on. So I am Psycho Droff. We're Engineered to Win. We are going to jump into this. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I have an article that we're going to read, but I just want to give some commentary on the video that we just watched, right? So one thing that stood out to me in what they were saying is that, all right, switch to WhatsApp, but you cannot get two-factor authentication through WhatsApp. And a lot of times it's the company who is like providing the service who will say, well, you need to authenticate via SMS. We're going to send you a code. Like for instance, when you're shopping on, I believe it's Shopify, and when you enter your email address, and if you already have an account with Shopify, they will automatically send you a text message to confirm that you are who you say you are. So it's not like you have, I mean, you could probably configure your account to do something else, but it's not something like, well, it's up to the company who's providing it. So you can't just say, well, I'm not going to use two-factor authentication if that's what the company that you're shopping with does. You could say, or I'm not just not going to use this company if I don't want to use two-factor authentication via my SMS, but you're not going to be able to do it through, you're not like, the advice that they gave in the video is not technically accurate. Like you should do those things, but it doesn't really get you around the multi-factor authentication when a company is sending you a text message to your phone in order to authenticate. And the whole thing with the USPS scams or scam links and stuff like that, 100% accurate, but it still has absolutely nothing to do with two-factor authentication. So it's pretty interesting that the advice they're giving, it still doesn't solve the problem. I don't know. And the thing is, they spoke to some cybersecurity guy, so I don't know if he had the wrong context on what they were talking about or the news article that they were going to do. But for me, the information that they gave does not actually solve or help solve that particular problem of the two-factor authentication, the multi-factor authentication. It solves how to avoid getting scammed and phished. But if they're getting into your account via if they're tracking your telecoms account via two-factor authentication, then you might still be SOL. All right. So let's jump into this article that we have from Gizmodo, where we're getting a little bit more details on this issue that we're having. All right. So let's jump over to it. So the title of this article is Feds Warn SMS Authentication is Unsafe After Worst Hack in Our Nation's History. Even the US government is telling Americans to use encrypted apps. I mean, I agree you should be using encrypted apps, but are the companies who are doing the SMS authentication going to switch their stuff to actually their authentication methods to be using encrypted apps? Is everyone going to be using Google Authenticator in order to get the code? Because that takes setup and that takes a huge adoption process that I'm pretty sure that like most people, they don't know how to use Google Authenticator. I know how to use it because I've been using it since like 2014 at different companies, but it might be like, it's going to be a huge learning curve, and it's going to be a major annoyance to have people open up an additional app to get a code in order to enter it. I know Amazon uses it, like AWS uses it and stuff like that, but it can be a bit annoying. All right. So let's jump into this article. So do you use text messages for multi-factor authentication? You should probably switch to a different method, especially with everything we're learning about the recent hack that has been dubbed the worst in our nation's history. Even the federal government is putting out warnings now, including a call for government officials to only use encrypted apps for communication. So I do agree that government officials should only use encrypted apps for official communications, but like, and they have the capacity to do that. But I think it becomes a lot harder for regular people, especially who are have to deal with customers and stuff like that, to have, because let's say you're trying to interact with a customer, right? It's not like you have all your customers on WhatsApp. And then if the government tells everyone to switch to WhatsApp, do they now end up taking control of WhatsApp? So it's very shaky, right? So it says hackers aligned with the Chinese government have infiltrated U.S. Telecommunications infrastructure so deeply that it allowed the interception of unencrypted communications on a number of people, according to reports that first emerged in October. I think that's when it might have been around the time we reviewed it. The operation, dubbed Salt Typhoon, apparently allowed hackers to listen to phone calls and nab text messages, and the penetration has been so extensive that they haven't been booted from the telecom network yet. So keep in mind, in January, probably sometime around mid-January, we're going to be starting our penetration testing course, our ethical hacking course, so that we can learn more about it, because, hey, if the Chinese can do it, then we should learn how to do it too. It says, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, issued guidance this week on best practice for protecting highly targeted individuals, which include new warnings about text messages. It says, do not use SMS as a second factor for authentication. SMS messages are not encrypted. A threat actor with access to the telecommunication provider's network who intercepted these messages can read them. SMS multi-factor authentication is not phishing resistant and is therefore not strong authentication for accounts of highly targeted individuals. The guidance, the guidance which has been posted online reads, it says, not every service even allows for multi-factor authentication, and sometimes text messages are the only option. That's what I was saying earlier. But when you have a choice, it's better to use phishing-resistant methods like passkeys or authentication apps. Authenticator apps like the Google Authenticator app, but not all provider, like not all companies use that. I know like more technical companies, like I said, AWS, GitHub uses it. Probably Google must use it. And you know, who else do I use it for? I can't even remember. I'd have to check my phone to see who else I use it for. But a lot of companies, a lot of more technical companies use the Google Authenticator app in order to where it circulates a new code every 60 seconds, and and you have to enter the right code at that time. Maybe we'll try setting it up maybe we'll try to set it up at one point. All right. So it says, incredibly, even the FBI has come out to endorse the use of encryption, which perhaps speaks to just how serious this intrusion into U.S. telecom infrastructure has become. The FBI has a very long history of opposing encryption of any kind, at least without providing some kind of backdoor that law enforcement can walk right through. Apps like Signal provide end-to-end encryption for messaging, though they do not make it impossible to be hacked. So it's funny that the FBI is telling you, hey, go and encrypt oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember reviewing this. They were able to get into the telecom companies because of the backdoor that the federal government required that the telecom companies have so that they can get in. And they're like, okay, cool, hold my beer. You have it for the FBI. We're going to hack into it. And now we have the juice, right? So there you go. So now everybody's okay. Sorry. Go ahead and encrypt your stuff. And we might not ever be able to get to it because the backdoor that we demanded is what got us into the situation in the first place. So great job, FBI, great job, telecom companies, right? So, because guess what? What makes you think if there's a backdoor for the federal government to get in, that the other companies, that the other, like that nefarious actors, if you know, because guess what, the FBI might be a nefarious actor themselves. I'm just kidding. But yeah. So not really. I'm kidding. I am kidding. Okay, that was just a little jokey joke. Okay. But yeah, so now what makes you think that other foreign entities, foreign adversaries cannot just go and do the same backdoor, find out how to get into it and do that, all right? So it says, adopt a free messaging application for secure communications that guarantees end-to-end encryption, such as Signal or similar apps, CISA said in a new guidance. CISA recommends an end-to-end encryption messaging app that's compatible with both iPhone and Android operating systems, allowing for text messages interoperability across platforms such apps may also offer clients for Mac OS, Windows, Linux, and sometimes the web. It says there has been criticism of both federal government and telecom companies for not taking Salt Typhoon seriously enough. Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, spoke with the Washington Post and New York Times back in late November about the threat and sounded the alarm. That's around the time that we reviewed it. Right? So, but there has been the lingering question of what the average person can do about any of it. Almost nothing, because really you're not in control of what another company, how they want to do their two-factor authentication. The only choice that you have is just not to use them, right? So that is the part that is in your control. But it's really comes down to that, because what they're saying doesn't really fix the two-factor authentication. So you can push companies to try to set up Google two-factor authentication, but it's going to be a hassle for the end user. To be honest with you, like just a setup to do that, it's a hassle. But there has been a lingering question of what the average person can do about any of it. The answer, it seems, is that regular people can heed the advice of agencies like the CISA, well, I don't know, when they make announcements intended for high-profile individuals, right? So that is our article from Gizmodo. Let's go back to full screen. Let me know your thoughts on this whole FBI saying, hey, we messed up. We asked for these backdoors. We got them. And guess what? China got them. Iran got them. Russia got them. Whoever else got them, because we were trying to spy on you. And now they're spying on you through us. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You played yourself. All right. But let me know your thoughts on this. Are you going to not use SMS for two-factor authentication? Are you going to use are you going to, I don't know, what are you going to do? Let me know your thoughts. Are you just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to click on these random links that come through SMS, but I know when I ask for a code, I change up my password every so often. So I have to use my SMS two-factor authentication in order to get by and do my day-to-day work, all right? But let me know. Do me a favor on your way out, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications so you know every time they go live and drop new content, as well as go to techcotrap.dev. Amazing information over there. You can work with me one-on-one so that we can always run it up together. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have an amazing day. Check out the Tech Coach Ralph Victory album on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, everywhere, Pandora, everywhere. Let me know your thoughts. But that's it. You guys have a wonderful weekend. This is Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.
You caught in a glitch. What's the fix this time? Chasing down bugs. Oh, it feels like a crime. Every software tale got a story to tell. In the world of tech, it's a digital swell. Watch us dive deep in lines of code, finding the truth on this heavy load. Welcome to the bot fight, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Lurk in the data stream, hacking our dreams. Is it all just a scheme? From the latest news to the viral threat, we break it all down. You ain't seen nothing yet. With every bug found, we take a stance. Join in the rhythm, give tech a chance. Welcome to the bot fight, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Hit the subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll conquer one bug at a run. Every single day. So hit that subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll